I wanted to come on here today to talk about something that I've seen in the news recently, and it was where this church had gotten itself into quite a bit of trouble because of where the pastor had basically gained control of the church bank account as well as the property. And this brings up a very important point when it comes to why it's important for us to be careful when deciding leadership in the church. I know that there's a lot of people, they don't really think about this. They think that someone, that is a pastor or preacher is not going to do something like this. But unfortunately, that is exactly what happens. And what happened in this particular case, somehow, and I'm sure that there were a lot of things that were not covered in the news article, but basically, the pastor had gotten control of the property, had gotten control of the bank account, and then basically really started to wrench down as far as what people were doing in the church, as far as what they were giving and things like that. And basically, he ended up draining the bank account. And fortunately, one thing that they were able to do is they were able to save their building before they got rid of the guy. And I think that it's important for when we do consider leadership roles within the church, there needs to be some checks and balances. Now, you got to remember, we are dealing with human beings that have a fallen nature. And there are people out there that who literally from the beginning, if you read the book of Job, I mean, that is what they are set out to do, is they are set out to basically cause the church harm, and that's exactly what tends to happen with some of them. And when we put people into certain positions and let them have free reign, there's a lot of trouble that can come up, and this is just one example of it. Now, and I just want to throw this out there. There should not be a single person that controls a bank account for any church. And I wanted to bring this out because of this news article, because of the story that happened with this church. You don't want to do that. There has got to be boundaries set. You got to legally protect yourself and all that, because there's people out there that they look for any way they can to destroy the church, to simply steal money from the church. And that is the unfortunate reality that has happened throughout the centuries. If you are not cautious, and I know that there's some out there that's going to say, well, you can't really do stuff like that. You can't be offensive. Yes, you can be. In fact, you have a responsibility to be. Was the Lord being offensive when he kicked over the tables of the money changers? Yes, he was. Did he care? I don't think he did. The reality is, truth has got to be stood up for. You can't let just anyone have free reign where they can come in and actually destroy a church, was pretty much what they did with this one. Fortunately, they were able to save the building, but that was about the only thing they were able to get. The bank account, they got wiped out and everything else. But you've got to be cautious. You have got to be cautious in leadership. You've got to be cautious in your church, the congregation, the people, the body, the church body needs to know what is going on, the individuals there. And again, there needs to be guide rails set. There needs to be some caution taken when you put people into these roles. But guys, that is just a few of the thoughts that I had today in this video. Let me know yours down in the comments below. Have you ever had something like this happen? Years ago, I actually went through a church split. I know how messy it can get. But guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.